Hey, Hound Dogs, I'm David Hankins.
I'm Paul Hankins.
I'm Trevor Hankins.
And you're on the air with Power Square. We're coming to you tonight live from the Student Medical Center at San Ramiro Community College. But we're here to talk about Eyeshield 21, which is celebrating its 20th.
Yeah, it's 21st anniversary.
Right.
So the title is not a typo.
So I guess I'll let you guys have actually read the manga.
Yes.
So the first question, of course, is what got you interested in Eyeshield 21?
Okay, well, we were just talking about that. We originally got it for you as a gift because it was football.
Uh-huh.
But then we started reading it, and I got really into it.
Okay.
Yes. It's even though it's a football manga, it might sound boring on the surface. It's a lot more than that. It's a well-written story with very memorable characters, memorable and distinct characters, and it's uses, I guess you could say, like shonen tropes to its advantage with sports genre.
Okay.
Yes.
Are there other football mangas out there? Or is this the only one?
It's the only one I'm aware of,
Okay.
at least.
So,
American football isn't really a American football isn't really a common subject.
All right. So, but you were saying earlier that they actually have American football over there.
Yeah, it's not as big as like the NFL.
No.
But there is American football played in Japan.
Okay. And it's sort of, is it at the high school level?
It's at least the high school level.
Okay.
yes.
Because I know that they actually play American football in Mexico too.
Right.
Because there was the Cowboys had a lineman from school down there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with the manga, we happen to have the entire run,
Okay.
Yes.
Which is
37 volumes, 333 chapters. That's notable for ending at that exact number.
yes.
So we also happen to have the first volume in Japanese.
We were trying to remember who brought that. Somebody I know went to Japan and brought that back, and
Yeah.
I'm going to say Angela Park, but I'm not really sure. At this point, I'm sorry. But
So if you're out there watching or listening to this, you know who you.
that's right.
Even still has the wraparound thing advertising the anime.
Yeah.
Have you watched the anime?
I actually did see at least part of the anime through YouTube.
Okay.
When back before that kind of content was banned.
I see, yeah. So people used to put everything on the YouTube.
Yeah. So I've watched at least part of the anime that way. So it was years and years ago. The anime isn't as good as the manga.
Uh-huh.
I remember at the time liking it because I was just really excited about Eyeshield, but over time, it's like hindsight, the animation could have been better. I'm sure if they remade it now, which I really think they should, they could do a lot more with it and really sell the the impact that usually goes on in football.
They also censored Hiruma's guns.
Yeah, Hiruma is known for having like machine guns.
Okay.
They censored that.
Huh.
They also, and on top of that, the entire thing about the manga is the Daemon Devil Bats want to go to the Christmas Bowl because that's their dream. But the anime doesn't even adapt to the Christmas Bowl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The Devil Bats have their main rivals, you could say, are the Ojo White Knights, who are the opposite of them in terms of their philosophy. Daemon's philosophy is like attack, 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 and if they get 99 points, we'll get 100. Ojo's strategy is like defense, 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 and if all we need is 1 point, and we just prevent them from scoring at all.
There's a philosophy in football that you win championships with defense.
Yeah.
So you're trying to keep the other team from scoring.
Yeah.
That's
Anyway, they adapt up to the second rematch with Ojo, and then they skip the Hokushu Dinosaurs game, which comes after that, and the Christmas Bowl.
Okay, so it's kind of a failed attempt to adapt it.
Yeah, so that's another reason they should. It's been long enough. That's another reason they should remake the anime.
Okay.
Or consider remaking it.
Like
maybe,
Hunter style.
Yeah.
And maybe this video will be enough to spur them on. All right. So, yeah, I guess tell us about who wrote it, who drew it.
Okay, so it was written by Riichiro Inagaki, who...
He's got 2 eyes in his name?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why you pronounce it that way. Modern... someone who isn't familiar with Eyeshield 21 may know him for writing Dr. Stone.
Okay.
Which has an anime.
Yeah, which has a currently ongoing anime. And the artist is Yusuke Murata, who someone who isn't familiar with his work on Eyeshield might be familiar with his work on the manga remake of One Punch Man. And the anime of One Punch Man, the One Punch Man anime uses his art style.
Yes.
So with Eyeshield 21, you can really see his art evolution going from, I guess it might be easy to show it. It's like, let's see, at first it sort of looks like, if you're watching this.
Yeah. If you're listening,
Yeah.
look away.
So it has like, he starts off with this sort of art style, then, I guess spoilers for people watching, but you eventually get art that looks more like this, where it gets really refined over time.
Every time I've heard about the life of a mangaka, which
Yeah.
always seems sad, they always seem to be writing and drawing themselves. This is one guy drawing, one guy writing? Is that common? More common than I know? Which is very possible.
It kind of depends. It's fairly common in Japan.
Okay. Because they have to crank stuff out.
Yeah.
Other examples of manga, the writer-artist duo are that immediately come to mind are Death Note and Hikaru no Go.
Yes. Coincidentally, both of those have the same artist. Takeshi Obata.
Okay.
Yes.
But I just, you kind of think of the mangaka,
Yeah.
24/7. Trying to draw.
And the difference is in Japan they actually credit the assistants as opposed to like American comics where they don't typically.
All right.
And Dr. Stone also has a separate writer and artist.
Yeah. But in Japan, the writer still has to like thumbnail stuff for the artist to work with.
Okay. So it's a collaboration.
Yeah. So do we want to talk about any like specific arcs?
Can.
Right. So in
I'll be over here.
in the beginning, we're sort of like building the team and getting used to like showing off, establishing the Devil Bats play style, which is they're very offensive oriented, but because they're physically not as strong as most of their other opponents, they rely on trick plays.
Okay.
Yes.
So they rely on deception, deceiving the opponent during the game through whatever means they can, while still being within the rules.
Uh-huh.
And that leads to leads into some of the comedy during a game.
Yes.
Like eventually it gets to the point where during the Christmas Bowl, a trick play is really their code system, which is like they say the name of a previous opponent and then 3 numbers, and you're supposed to remove a number based on whether they won, lost, or tied, and that's the play number. The Devil Bats also have cards that have all the plays on them. And they're depicted like trading cards.
I never actually played high school football, but when I was a kid, played six-man or actually elementary school.
Yeah.
But at the Y, there was a guy. I had read in a book. This kid who wasn't on the team came up with all these little trick plays because he found his grandfather's playbook or uncle's playbook. I forgot the story, but I actually saw them do this in a game where when they sent one of the guys out like he was going off the field.
Yeah.
But he didn't go all the way off the field.
Yeah.
He's eligible as a receiver, so he's off the field and like he's wide open. No one's covering him. They thought, well, anyway, so took place.
And then also the Devil Bats, because they don't have as many team members as again most of their other opponents. Most of them play offense and defense. Okay. I think I read that was called Iron Man football.
And that's kind of old school. A lot of teams. Players would play both sides in smaller schools and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so that's interesting that they would adapt that.
It's like with the Devil Bats, they needed 3 members to actually have a club, but you need like 11 people to play. So part of the early material is them scrambling, like grabbing 11 people. And a part of the story is also Senna Kobakawa, who's the main character in the center here. He joins the Devil Bats hoping to be like the manager, but because he's a gopher for other people, he's really fast, so he's kind of strong-armed into being the running back.
Okay.
And he goes under the guise of Eyeshield 21, partly so he keeps his identity a secret because he doesn't want his childhood friend Mamori to find out.
Okay.
Because she'd be worried sick about his safety.
You would think he would be limping one day after the game. She might know.
He actually tries not to get
hurt.
Yeah. And then I think I want to say at the beginning there's kind of like Senna disappears when Eyeshield shows.
He's like Superman. Yeah. Bruce Wayne.
Anyway, the way the story is written, you can really get behind their motivations and dreams.
Okay.
Part of what makes the story interesting is not only how interesting the Devil Bats are, but also how unique their opponents are,
right.
And how they utilize different strategies, and the Devil Bats have to again use like trick plays and their gradual bond of teamwork to overcome it. Like for example, like I said, there's the White Knights who are very defense oriented. They also, another early opponent is the Chameleons, who copy the opponent.
Yes. Yeah, they adapt their strategy to match the opponent.
Yeah, so hence
Okay.
the Chameleons.
That works for some people. People would actually do that.
Yeah.
Another thing that helps is that the manga actually teaches you the rules of football as it goes.
Okay.
Yeah, so you do not have to know anything about football to like Eyeshield. I barely knew much about football when I started reading it, but I still really got into it. And yeah, like Trevor said, it explains it as it goes and brings up rules as they become relevant.
Okay.
The Devil Bats' first opponent, the Cupids.
Yeah, the Koigahama Cupids. Become a sort of joke. You could say joke character for the story.
Yeah.
They're like a very weak team that's used to establish like the very basic rules of football.
Okay.
Yeah,
like how the point system works.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see.
Now, these are rules at a certain time because they do change occasionally.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The basic, like if you kick it, it's 3, but if you run it, it's 6 points.
Right.
Yeah.
Kick could be in a field goal.
Yeah. Trevor and I were actually talking before the show about like some notable opponents.
Uh-huh.
One we remembered was the Tayo Sphinx, Who have their pyramid line.
They are an Egyptian. The school is Egyptian themed.
Of course.
Yes. And so that's another defensive-oriented team, but it's a different kind of defense from the White Knights.
Right.
And what made that game interesting is that again, spoilers for the series, but that game actually ends in a tie.
Okay.
And I think that's the only time that happens in the series.
Yeah.
And what's actually interesting also about Eyeshield is that the Devil Bats don't win every game.
Okay. Well, that's
Like,
more realistic.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's more realistic. And then you also see how the Devil Bats react to a loss, and you still root for them.
Right. Is there a day of the week they play?
I don't think
That gets into that?
I'm not really sure.
Okay, because I know that in America it's Friday nights football, high school football night.
Right.
They some games weather conditions come up.
Yeah, like obviously during the Christmas Bowl it snows.
Right.
So they have to also deal with snow on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes it fun.
So after the Taio Sphinx, there's actually an arc where the Devil Bats are in America, because they're initially there to play against the NASA aliens. Now,
In real life,
naturally they make up everything.
Yeah.
So in real life, NASA doesn't have a football team.
No, but pretend they do.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. Be a bunch of old guys with
that-
lab coats.
They actually went to America, like to NASA for research. Obviously, they couldn't take pictures of any top secret stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the inside of a spaceship.
Or the aliens that we all know they have. Hard to controversy.
Anyway, I remember the NASA Aliens game is where I started running into the idea, or thinking more about the fact that because it's a shonen manga, they give regular football moves these super cool names.
Yeah.
And in the case of the NASA Aliens, it's also the name of an actual play, but they give it to they make that a shonen thing. It was the shuttle pass, and it's explained in the manga as it's a really long bomb.
Okay. That's not what a shuttle pass is, but okay.
That's what I was trying to say. That's not what an actual shuttle pass is, but because it's a shonen manga and it's NASA, so space themed,
Shuttle.
so the shuttle pass. And what's also interesting about that arc is, or that game, is that also actually tackles the subject of racism.
So it introduces a recurring character named Panther.
Yeah, or his real name is Patrick Spencer, but his nickname is Panther because he's fast, like a panther.
Right.
Yes. And the coach for the aliens is Coach Apollo. He's actually, he starts off being racist towards black people and Asians.
Wow.
Panther is black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't go
And
there, but
he,
yes.
the backstory with Apollo is he got, when he was trying out for the NFL, he got passed up for a black player. So he was trying to prove you could make a winning team of only white guys. But by the end of the game, he's convinced to actually let Panther, who is the kind of the ball boy / water boy, actually play. And after seeing Panther's performance, he starts to turn around and realize he was wrong about his racist ways.
Right. Okay.
Although interesting, he still let Latinos on the team.
Yeah.
So clearly he had no problem with that.
Well.
Funny detail I remember with the aliens. It was part of the deal was if the aliens lose, they are not allowed to step foot in America.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to step foot back in America again.
Uh-huh.
So to work around that, Apollo renames the team to the Shuttles.
I see.
Yeah. The aliens aren't allowed back, but the Shuttles.
So then, after the aliens game, the Devil Bats don't have the money to go back to Japan. So they actually travel cross country to Las Vegas.
Okay.
Which is also used as a training exercise because the Devil Bats have to like push a truck the entire way.
Yeah, they push a truck for like thousands of miles.
You'd be in really good shape or dead.
Yeah. That's all. Actually, that arc is also how we learned about the concept of muscle recovery.
Okay.
So they push the truck in shifts. So like they took turns, different members of the team took turns pushing it. So it's like you spend a day pushing this, but then you spend a day resting to build your muscle back up, and then you push it again.
I forgot how, but I think it was also like Hiruma figured out how they could do like double the muscle recovery.
Yeah. And at the same time, Senna's special training was he had to kick a rock the whole way. And if he lost the rock, he'd have to start all over.
Okay.
Yes. And so at some point, near the end, the rock breaks in half, so he ends up kicking both halves.
Okay.
They also end up picking up a couple more members along the way.
Okay. So anybody can play for him? Is that...
Well, they happen to be Japanese. Well, someone who becomes another team member, and then someone who becomes a cheerleader.
Okay.
Yes.
Do they ever have girls play on the team?
There is one female player in the entire series who is the quarterback for the Teikoku Alexanders, who they battle in the Christmas Bowl.
I see. Okay.
So she's actually the best quarterback in the Kansai region.
Okay.
And who ends up being the best quarterback in, high school Japanese football.
Right.
And it's notable that it's a female player.
Yeah.
And after the Devil Bats when they get to Vegas, they have to gamble the money to get back. So Trevor and I also learned a little bit about gambling from there.
Yes.
Like we don't gamble, but we learned a little bit about like the psychology of it.
All right. Shit, points and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Also, like in roulette, you have a higher chance if you bet on red or black.
Right.
Like just the color.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't get into sports betting. This is just betting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, they gamble in a casino. Anyway, like we learned the psychology behind like.
They're high school students and they're gambling in a casino. Shh. Okay.
Yeah. It's among.
Okay.
I forget if they managed to fudge their age or something.
Okay.
I think they might have.
Yeah.
Because you have to be like, don't you have to be like 21 to step off the little carpet thing or something?
Yeah.
Some rule.
It would be. I should probably not get too far without mentioning that Hiruma has this book of threats
Okay.
that he's able to blackmail people with to get what he needs for the club.
All right.
And also so they can get to places where they normally shouldn't, so they can train.
Yeah. Yeah, Jen who's.
Yeah. It's been a while since we read
Yeah, that's fine.
the, I guess you could say pre-Kanto tournament.
Yes.
Then the Kanto tournament is when the games are always written in a very tense way, partly to emphasize the different strategies. Then the Kanto tournament is when they get really more into like all these different strategies you can do. Like for example, the Bondo Spiders are very focused on kicking.
Yes.
but they show the power of kicking.
Right.
Because they have a insanely good kicker, so they managed to. Damon's at a power level at that point where it's like, oh my god, they're really good at kicking. We can't really get past this kicker. He can only rack up a lot of points through kicking a lot of 3-pointers, and they also have a good running back who presents himself at that point as the real Eyeshield 21. But their kicking strategy also involves like a coffin corner kick,
Right.
Where they kick to like just
Inbounds.
just inbounds as far as possible.
Right.
So the Devil Bats have to overcome that kind of advantage.
What was the name of the team with the ocean theme again?
The Poseidons.
Yeah, the Poseidons. The Poseidons, like, everyone is like super tall.
Yeah, their defensive line is super tall.
So they have to work around that. Yeah, and also the school is super tall.
Another game I remember really liking was the Cebu Wild Gunmen.
Yes.
Actually, on the cover of volume 16, I show a kid, who's their quarterback. He has a quick draw pass,
Okay.
where he can pass the ball like really quickly. So he,
Quick release. Yeah.
so he hardly gets sacked.
Right.
And Senna also has to. Different team members also usually have to overcome different parts of the line, offensively or defensively. So the Wild Gunmen not only have the quick draw, but they also have a really good running back, Riku Kaitani, who is sort of a match for Senna physically. And then Monta, who is a receiver for the Devil Bats. He has to overcome Tetsuma, who Tetsuma follows instructions exactly. So if he has a pass route, he's told where to go, he will go there.
Okay.
No matter what happens. So he's
Actually, his route is visualized like train tracks.
that sort of visualization also helps even people who don't understand football like keep track of it. Like
Right.
Totsuba also like follows his instructions very literally, like
even outside of the game.
like when he's told to stay hydrated, he will stay hydrated.
It's implied in other material in the book that he gets that from his dad, who is a driver. He will drive exactly, even if he hits other cars out of the way. Like you tell him where to go, he will go.
No matter who's in his way. Okay.
Yeah.
Other stories you want to talk about?
Yeah. Let's see, trying to flip through. There was the Shinryuji Nagas,
Yes.
who were presented even early on in the series. They're presented as this like super powerful team. And they're actually one of the strongest teams in the series. Like they've got a cornerback who can run. Oh yeah, they rewind a little bit. They also usually present how fast a character is in terms of like how quick they are in the 40-yard dash. So like Senna can do the 40-yard dash in 4.2 seconds, which is consistently presented as like the human limit. So then when Panther is able to do it in 4.1, he's like, he's superhuman.
They do judge players on how fast they run the 40-yard dash.
Yeah.
Do they play 100 yards or do they play 100 meters?
100 yards.
Okay.
Anyway, the Nagas, they have this one strategy they have is they call it the Flying Dragon, where they have 2 quarterbacks on the field.
Okay.
And then later in the game, they have the Golden Flying Dragon, where they have 3 quarterbacks.
Okay.
Well, you have someone who doubles as a quarterback, so then they pass it, and then they can kind of, you don't know who's going to actually pass the ball, and they can keep passing it back to each other if they really want to.
Okay.
So the Nagas, they have someone they have a cornerback who's really fast running backwards, so he can always look at Manta. You have the Congo brothers.
Yes. Agon and Unsui.
Yeah, Agon and Unsui. What's that? The manga also does a really good job at making the opponents memorable because of their relationships with each other. Like the Congo brothers, Unsui had to like work his ass off and train constantly to get as good as he is. But Agon is just naturally really good, and he hardly ever ever has to train.
So he has a bit of an ego.
Yeah, he has the ego to go with that.
He thinks the perfect team is just 11 copies of himself.
Yeah. But Agon has his natural ability, gives him Godspeed impulses.
Okay.
Or he has like a superhuman reaction time. So you can just so no matter what's going on, he can just react really quickly, so he's really hard to stop for that reason.
Okay.
So it takes a lot of effort for the Devil Bats to overcome that. Then I'll just say, like, the last 3 games of the Kanto tournament were also among the best in the series. Like, you have the second Ojo rematch is a second because Devil Bats actually lose to them twice beforehand, and then this is their last shot. That's super tense because it's sort of like the Devil Bats against what are presented as their main rivals. And then after that is the Hakushu Dinosaurs, whose strategy is mostly overwhelming the opponent with sheer power, as they have it's kind of funny in manga how powerful like high schoolers can be. Again, some of it is just kind of funny in a ridiculous shonen way. Like they have the dinosaurs have a lineman, Gao,
Yes.
who actually puts any quarterback he's up against out of commission, like breaking bones.
Okay.
Because he's so powerful. If his like pinky grazes you, you get a bruise.
Can't beat you from the hospital.
Yeah.
He wears like a metal mouth guard.
Yeah, he wears a titanium mouth guard. Because that's how strong his
Teeth are.
Yeah. Because he'd otherwise just chew whatever mouth guard he has to bits. But they also have Marco is their quarterback, and he has this ability his ability is the screw bite, like spinning and grabbing the ball from the opponent.
Okay.
Marco also likes cola.
Yeah, he also likes cola. And actually, when Senna has to go up against Marco, who is also really good, they said QB spy.
Okay.
Like, Senna was like, okay, think about everything you know about Marco, and then, crap, all I know is that he likes cola. He's drinking cola. He gave us cola. I know he likes cola. And in the Alexander's game afterwards, I forgot to mention, they also have the dinosaurs also have a member whose ability is the Taro Claw. He has a flexible arm,
Okay.
so you can just sort of like caught like that. You can just
Okay.
yeah.
Did I do it right?
Yeah. Then after the dinosaurs game is the Christmas Bowl, which is this big like emotional and narrative climax for the series. and the thing about the Alexanders is they scout the ace members of like all the other teams in Kanto, so they have all the strongest members. So
They have like multiple tiers of teams.
yeah, they have 6 teams.
Okay.
But in the Christmas Ball, it's like their team 1, which is like the best of the best. So there's a sheer skill gap to overcome, including Yamato, who is the real Eyeshield 21.
Okay.
Then you also have, again, female quarterback, Karin Koizumi. I only remember these names because I just reread the last part of the manga. And then you have Taka Honjo, who is so good at catching that when he jumps, it's like he's walking on air. His dad was this super good baseball player.
Okay.
And it's explained that he's that good because he was training for like every day of his life. In baseball, and then he got bored, so he went into football. He still got bored.
If you're that good, you probably would be.
Yeah.
And the baseball player is also the one that Monta idolizes.
Yeah.
Monta originally wanted to play baseball, but when the Devil Bats were looking for players, he was convinced to play football.
Okay.
Because like Monta is only good at catching. Because like in baseball, they said it's like the explanation given is like in baseball you need people who can do like who are good at multiple things, but in football you can't have people who are only good at one thing.
Right.
Yeah, it was explained to him that in football you actually want people who are only good at one thing.
Right. You like to be good at more than one, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's okay to be only good at one thing in football. And part of what makes the Christmas Bowl really climactic is everyone kind of reaches the end of their like character development, both as their development as characters and as players, and they even
Make some legends real.
yeah, like all the stuff that the Devil Bats are kind of BSing throughout their games to intimidate the opponent. It actually becomes reality. And then after the Christmas Ball is the World Cup arc, which just shouldn't have existed.
It sucks.
Yeah, unfortunately after the Christmas Ball is the World Cup arc, which just sucks.
Okay.
Because it's super poorly paced. Like it's really rushed. Because clearly the point is to have it felt like the World Cup arc was written just so Senna could have a proper rematch with Panther. But really rushes through the entire like tournament to get there, because the prize is like $3 million. If you're the MVP, you get $3 million and an NFL contract.
Okay.
And so Japan puts together this all-star team to take on the other countries of the world, at least one of which we think was clearly made up.
Okay.
Militaria.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was made up.
Yeah.
It's a little island in the Pacific. No?
Militaria, they act like the military.
Yeah. They for some reason it spends time hyping up these other teams, but then we see barely anything.
Mm-hmm.
And even within the same like volume, they speed through like 2 whole games.
Oh.
They also sort of like introduce a new character in like that final arc that you're supposed to care about, but the pacing is a little the pacing of the arc is a little too fast for you to actually
Care about him, and he seems to be introduced solely so Gao can learn a new technique.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
Fortunately, the final chapter ends the manga on a high note.
Okay.
Yes.
You don't want to spoil the ending.
No.
although as appropriately enough the chapter is Touchdown.
Yeah. And the World Cup arc also kind of stretches your really stretches your suspension of disbelief. Like, I'm pretty sure Bud Walker is on the American team is not 18.
He looks like he's in his 30s.
So, you know, you don't want to spoil it, but if somebody, while they're watching this video and they go, hey, I want to read it, can
Good luck.
they? Okay.
Unfortunate. It's really unfortunate, actually, because
It's been out of print for years and it's not even available digitally.
yeah, it's not available digitally. It's a lot easier to. Naturally, it's easier and cheaper to get the Japanese volumes, but you'd have to like
Or
know Japanese.
yeah.
And I mean, you could get. They could read scans online, but that's not the official translation.
A lot of effort.
What?
Be a lot of effort to
Yeah.
read it. But if somebody can manage to find all 37 volumes, you would say they should read it.
Yeah, it's totally worth reading. I would hope that they really should reprint the manga so you don't have to spend you don't have to give up like a kidney or something to afford it. But if they do ever reprint it, I would still highly recommend Eyeshield 21 because again, you do not have to know anything about football, which is the biggest plus. But it has really good writing, strong, memorable characters, incredible artwork. In the English volumes, they even preserved a chapter that was entirely in color, which they normally didn't do, and they made a big deal out of doing here.
Yes.
But and like you go from like this, and then later you get covers like this. It plays around with color really well. You got these incredible spreads that like still live rent free in our heads. And it's easily one of my favorite manga.
Okay.
Mine too.
Actually, because I was reading it while I was in high school, it actually got me excited about playing football for the first time.
Okay.
Like in gym class,
Right.
class football.
Right.
Yes.
But I still was actually excited because I read this technique. Maybe I can try to put it into practice.
Okay.
That wouldn't necessarily happen to everyone, but
Right. But it hasn't turned you into football fans per se.
not huge football fans, but enough to
It got us interested in learning about football.
yeah. So, if anything, I should at least say it had an impact on us in more ways than one.
Okay. Sounds
Yes.
good.
So I think that about covers it.
Okay.
Unless you have something else to say.
Since this manga is so hard to find, should we at least show off what the covers look like?
Sure.
Cool.
Or is that-
We can do that really quick. Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For those listening, it probably sounds like I'm just counting.
There will be a test later. So.
6, 7,
If you are listening, we're showing off the covers.
yeah, 8, 9, 10,
It's around the Vegas arc.
yeah, 11, 12, 13. Even on these covers, you can really see the how the art style evolves.
Yes.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Our copy, the cover's a little
Creased, yeah. There you can see members of the Nagas here. And on here, 23. 24. 25. Those really good composition with the helmet right there.
This-
26. 27. I guess spoilers on the covers as well. 28. 29. 30. And then 31. 32.
when we get to the final stretch.
Yeah. 33. 34. 35. I believe this is about when the World Cup arc.
The point where the writing goes downhill.
Yeah. 36. Then 37. Again, the final chapter at least helps it end on a high note.
Okay.
So that's about it.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so if you're watching this on YouTube and you like this, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and leave a comment below if you have any opinions about Eyeshield 21 or if this influenced your decision.
If you made it this far, comment touchdown.
Yes, or yaha. So until next time,
I'm David Hankins.
I'm Paul Hankins. I'm Trevor Hankins.
And you've been on the air with Power Squared.